guys, today I'm going to just give you a process that you can use as you're starting to digest the feedback that you hopefully got from peer review, and also as you're starting to think about revising that first essay. And this is a revision process that you can use throughout the rest of the quarter and also in other classes as well if you're writing essays and revising them. So my suggested process for revising is as follows. So first of all, the first thing you should do is read your peer review feedback if you got any. If you didn't get any and you're struggling and you want me to check out your essay, or even if you did get peer review feedback and you want me to check out your essay, I'm happy to do it. But read that feedback, which I hope you got. Think critically about it. So try to decide what, based on the peer review, you'd like to change, if anything, and think about whether you trust the peer review, whether you want to do what your peer is saying. It's up to you. You don't have to do everything your peer says or everything your peer suggests, but it's another set of eyes on your draft, so do what you want with it. Then after that, what I would recommend is rereading the assignment description itself. So that original essay prompt that I posted a week or so ago, the essay prompt for essay 1, and reread it and then think about whether you've actually done what the assignment asks you to do. I know that probably seems pretty simple and obvious, but a lot of students don't do this. So really try to consider, all right, have I done exactly what I've been asked to do here, or have I missed something? Are there any parts of the assignment description that maybe I missed or didn't take into account? And then ask yourself if you have any questions for me that you want to ask me before you submit this for a grade. I'm happy to answer questions about your draft. I'm happy to look at parts of it, the whole thing. So keep that option open for yourself. After that, what I'd recommend you do is make changes that you want to make from the macro level to the micro level. And what I mean by that is start by making large-scale structural changes. Don't start by proofreading. If you start by proofreading, what you're going to have to do when you make large-scale structural changes to your essay, or when you decide to revise body paragraphs based on content or structure, is you'll have to go back and proofread again anyway, because anytime you write more stuff or take things out or rearrange things, typos are going to happen, little mistakes are going to crop up. So save proofreading until the last. Save that for your last step. What I'd recommend you do is first think about the large-scale structure of your essay. So does it work on a structural level overall? Is your thesis in the right place? Is your thesis the kind of thesis statement the essay is asking you to come up with? The essay assignment is asking you to come up with? Are the body paragraphs in the right order? Does each one have a main idea? Do the main ideas directly support the thesis statement? So that's the first thing to start with. And then after that, think about whether individual paragraphs in your essay, such as the introduction, conclusion, and body paragraphs, need to be revised sort of like internally. So does each body paragraph internally have coherence? Does it make sense? Does it work to support the main idea of the paragraph? So do that next. And then after that, proofread. And students, I find, either want to do this first a lot of the time, or they want to skip this step. And I wouldn't recommend you do either. If you're having trouble proofreading, which a lot of us do, I have some suggestions for you. So you can read your essay out loud to yourself from beginning to end. Some students find that it helps them if they print their essay out and then read it to themselves. I notice, I'm older than a lot of you guys, I'm thinking, but it helps me if I print out stuff I've written and then I read it out loud to myself. For some reason, it just helps me catch stuff that I wouldn't catch on a screen. Another thing you can do, and I stole this from another instructor here, is read your essay out loud one sentence at a time backwards, beginning with the last sentence. And this seems kind of ridiculous at first, but what it does is it forces you to look at your essay in a new way and not pay so much attention to the content and just pay attention to whether the sentences make sense. So it's kind of hard to do, but if you do it, you'll notice that you'll catch things that you otherwise wouldn't catch, little mistakes and so forth. Early in the morning for me and I need more coffee. Use spell check. You can use this. It doesn't always catch everything, but if spell check flags something for you and says, hey, this is misspelled, don't ignore it. Consider whether it's right. Sometimes it'll catch misused two, and two, things like that. Also use Grammar Checker. So Grammar Checker also sometimes will tell you to do things that are wrong, or it will miss grammatical mistakes, but a lot of the time it'll tell you things are wrong when they really are. So maybe use that if you have it on your version of Word or whatever software you're using. And then also, if you're able to, you can have a friend or family member proofread your essay for you. If you have like a mom or a dad or boyfriend or girlfriend or best friend or whatever, somebody, kid, somebody who's good at proofreading or who doesn't mind doing it, the more people you can get to read something you wrote and pay attention to little misspellings and things that don't make sense, the better your writing's going to be. So don't be afraid to do that. It'll probably help you. Then after you're done with all that stuff, after you've proofread it, after you've made structural changes, after you've considered your peer review, I said those things in the wrong order, but you get it. Just read it out loud to yourself one last time from the beginning to the end without taking a break, just to make sure you didn't miss anything. What I notice a lot of the time is, and maybe you know this if you've had a class from me before on campus, probably you haven't, but if you have, what you may have noticed, and what I notice is that sometimes I'll write an essay prompt or I'll write a handout for students. I'll read it a million times, I'll read it out loud to myself, I'll bring it to class, and just as I'm starting to hand it out, I'll notice there's a typo in the first sentence. And I think, if I would have just read it one more time to myself before photocopying it, I would have caught that. So, take that for whatever you want to take it for. Then after you're done doing that, you're satisfied with it, submit it to the Dropbox. There's been some confusion in the class about what a Dropbox is. A Dropbox is just the place that you see in the module where it says like submit your essay here or this is the essay Dropbox. So it's in the module and it'll have a due date attached to it. And I don't think Canvas actually calls them Dropboxes. I call them Dropboxes just because I don't know what else to call them. It's the place where you submit your assignment basically. And so if you go into the Dropbox, you open it, you should see that there's a way to submit a document, upload a document, and that there are restrictions on the type of document. So just make sure you're submitting the correct type of document according to those restrictions, and the Dropbox will say, and make sure you're submitting it and actually clicking submit and clicking upload instead of just clicking OK or whatever. And then after this, you're good to go. Make sure you actually submitted it. Go back into the Dropbox and check that it actually is there. It should say that there's a document there that you submitted, and if you don't see it there, please get a hold of me and ask me because I can check for you and tell you whether it's there. However, if you wait until the last minute and you have technical difficulties or you think your assignment's not there, you're kind of on your own because I don't take late work and I also go to bed pretty early. So if you're waiting until like 11 o'clock at night to work on submitting your draft to me for grading, and then you're not sure it's in the Dropbox, I'm not going to get that message that you're going to send me until the next morning, and at that point it'll be too late if it's not there. So if you're nervous about using a Dropbox for the first time in the class, if it's the first time for you, if you're not sure you're going to be able to upload a document correctly or you've had trouble with these before, maybe just do it a little early. Do it like at the beginning of the day that it's due so that if you have trouble you can get a hold of me before it's too late and I can let you know if I don't see your work there because I'm happy to check for you. So as always, if you have questions about any of this or you have a revision question or you want to ask me about your essay, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I try to get responses out to messages I get in Canvas within 24 hours. Usually it's much quicker than that, so don't feel like you're bugging me if you have a question.